This guy's called the Standing Streamer.
Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret, and you're watching Putting You Over.
How's it going, everybody? What's going on? I am the Standing Streamer. Welcome to Put You Over.
For everybody, yeah. It is. It is what it is.
All right, so as I said, 9P, we'll have Royce Isaac. So we have Fathead LeGreckheads in the back there. My notes for Royce are here. And it should be a good, better than MLW. It should be a good show. But if you don't know who Royce Isaacs is, we're going to get to know him right now. He is of the NWA, one half of the Wildcards, part of Strictly Business. I'm going to give him a call right now. I'm going to go up to the front of the bar, make the call, and then we're going to do this. Is everybody ready? Can I see a show of hands? The Skype button to call in. Now, did you want to do audio only, or you want to do camera too?
Video's fine. I think you see me now?
Oh, yeah. I see you now. Perfect.
Oh, make it to the other side right now. Hold on. Right, there we go.
There you go. Now it works. First of all, before we get things going, thank you, chat. Audio is perfect. Great. I have a rough time with audio at times. I just want to say a couple things. One, thank you for doing the show because it's hard to get people on. But the second thing is, you came up with a brilliant idea, and I never thought of it myself. Like, because I do the show live on Twitch, so I like to have video when I can. And your brilliant plan of just making a burner Skype account that once I'm done with you, I'll just change the password and I can use it for the next one. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I thought of that, but it was just one of those things that I've had a few interviews now where people are like, "Oh, do you have a Skype? Do you have a Skype?" And it's like, I don't want one for myself. Like, I don't want one to like talk to my friends and family. Right. So it's not one of those things that not that I'm sure it takes 5 minutes, but I'm like, I don't really want to go through all that trouble. But like, if I was a show and I needed something, I'd be like, oh, I can just make one that all my guests use because it's more convenient. Like, so, you know what I mean? It's like for you guys, it makes it easier. Then cool. Like,
it was perfect. I was like, yeah, he's totally right. Like, why don't I just create one for the show and be like, look, here, I got it all set up for you. All you gotta do is log in, click answer, and we're good to go.
Yeah, man. But if I could, every once in a while, you know, I have a good idea.
every once in a while. So first of all, I'm having a rough couple days for a couple reasons. My favorite band, Pearl Jam, was going on tour.
Uh-huh.
And now they're not. It got postponed due to this, coronavirus. Has the coronavirus affected the wrestling business on your end in any way?
So far on my end, no, but like I know like an APW show got canceled for this Saturday in Daly City in Northern California. Like I know Northern California is on a much bigger lockdown right now than LA.
Yeah.
Most LA responds, but yeah, I mean it's obviously it's a very big, very real thing.
Yeah.
The people, NBA, the NBA is like just postponed a game that was about to happen between the Jazz and someone else. I mean, they're meeting tomorrow morning to figure out about WrestleMania and all this stuff. Like, this obviously it's pretty wild, man.
Yeah, I mean WrestleMania. I was just talking about this because I went live a little bit early so I could check audio and all that stuff, and I was saying, now, will they just cancel WrestleMania, or will they push back WrestleMania, or because my wife came home and she works for the government, not only for the government but in the medical field, and she's like, WrestleMania is not happening, hun. And I was just wondering all that. But on your end of things, in the NWA, you guys got the Crockett Cup coming up here in, gosh, shit, I can't remember the date. It's April something or other.
Well, 19th. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about that a bunch on the actual stream and whatever. But yeah, like, that's coming up April 19th.
Yeah.
In Georgia. Georgia's been okay so far. Like, knock on wood, been all right so far.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I mean, it's hitting. Anyways, I that's 2 weeks in a row. I've now started off the show on a slow halt or a downside of things. But anyways, we'll move on from that. And I'm not gonna ask you, where you train, or any of that stuff. But what I do want to know is, did you grow up a wrestling fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What'd you watch?
The WWF and WCW. I mean, I watched both, but I was more of a WWF guy.
Yeah. Who? You're about 30 something, I think, right? 30. So
31.
you're 31. So, well, you didn't have to answer. You just said yes. So I'm a little older than you. I'm 40. I just turned 40. So we probably watched around the same time. So WWF at that time. What guys did you look up to, or wait, did you always want to be a wrestler?
I mean, yeah, when I was younger, I watched wrestling with my dad. Always really enjoyed it. I always thought there was a side of it that appealed to me for sure. I always was competitive. I always played sports. I always liked wrestling, so it seemed like a natural kind of fit, I guess.
Yeah. You played.
I mean, great era for wrestling, so I liked, Stone Cold. I liked The Rock. I liked all the cool, like Mankind and Kane were badass. So.
Yeah. You were an athlete in school. You said you wrestled, amateur wrestling, and you played football, correct?
Yeah, man.
And I believe you can see that portrayed in your in-ring work, or at least what I've seen. When I first stumbled upon you was at the Crockett Cup last year.
Yeah.
When you just got thrown into things with Tom. Was that the first time you guys were put together? I mean, kayfabe, I guess. Was that the first time you teamed with him?
Kayfabe and non-kayfabe, no, absolutely. That was the first time we were together, was Crockett Cup last year. So it seems like it's been longer than a year, but time.
Yeah. It played out perfectly. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna say. I mean, it's been a crazy journey so far, and for a lot of people, that was their first time getting to catch me on a bigger stage, and this year I can't wait to make an even bigger impact at the Crockett Cup, because I hopefully this is one of those things that this can really be the wild card event. Like the NWA has a rich history, the Crockett Cup has a rich history, and the wild cards are there to make some history too.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good turnout. So I stumbled upon you last year. You got with Tom. You guys, the Wildcards. You guys, skyrocketed to the top. NWA Tag Team Champions. How did I want to phrase this? And you're with Nick Aldis. You guys are strictly business. Where do you and Tom stand right now? Because I haven't seen you two in the ring together Power wasn't on this week, but together as a tag team. I've seen you as a group, as a faction, but are you guys still together? I mean, you're part of a faction, but
the Circle Squared yesterday, we got announced as a tag team, and the Crockett Cup. So
Well, shame on me because I watched that whole thing and did live coverage for a wrestling website, and I totally, because when they announced that, I was updating the matches. But so you guys are in it as a team, as the Wildcards. You must be.
Yeah.
You gotta repeat.
Absolutely. I announced yesterday. You check, shameless plug, at Royce Isaacs on Instagram, at Royce Isaacs on Twitter. I released the graphic and everything like that. We were announced. Villain Inc. was announced. There was another Ring of Honor team. I want to say Ray Horace was in that, so that's sweet.
It's Villain Enterprise is Flip Gordon though and Brody King, I believe.
Yeah, obviously PCO is some different stuff this year, and obviously Marty is in the match with Nick this year at Crockett. So it's one of those things. Yeah, I mean, like Flip's one of the best flyers in the business, and I think he's shown that he has more to his game. Like if you watch his match with Nick from the last pay-per-view, he's come into his own in a lot of other ways as well, and he can do a lot more than just the flying stuff. So like, I mean, in some ways, it's almost like a thunder and lightning thing with him and Brody, where they might be even more dangerous this year. And me and Tom are now 1-1 with Villain Inc. So I would love to, have the rubber match with them. And to me, it's like, what better stage is there than the Crockett Cup for that?
There's no better stage. And I agree with Flip. When I first saw Flip, when I first saw him, he was wrestling in Defy up in Seattle. And I was like, this kid, he's great. He flips around. He's very athletic. Not gonna go much past that. But I'm just a viewer, and just a fan. And boy, was I wrong, because him in Ring of Honor, his feud with Bully Ray that put him over for sure, in my mind. But
Flip's an outstanding talent that I've shared the ring. We shared the ring last year at Crockett Cup. Me and Tommy pulled one out on him and Bandito in the second round, and we were able to get to the finals there. And there's no underestimating Flip Gordon. He's definitely a top-rate talent. But at the same time, strictly business, wild cards. Like we're in this to win this. You know what I mean? Like last year, we got runner-up. We got that first loser trophy. So this year, we want the real trophy. We want the Crockett Cup, and we want the big shiny gold belts back. The Eagle belts. So that's what it's about. That our eyes are on the prize as far as that goes.
Now, is there any, like, if you guys win that Crockett Cup, you get to hold the trophy high above. You guys are champions. Does that give you? Are you guys then the number one contenders? I would suppose for Storm and Drake, correct? That would be my assumption, maybe.
My assumption is that they were going to be in the tournament, but I could be wrong there. Usually the champions were always historically in the tournament, so that the belt conceivably could change hands during the tournament.
That's my
question.
Be wrong. I didn't follow.
I don't know. If they haven't been announced, I couldn't remember one of the other teams. If they haven't been announced, then I guess not. But
like I said, I wasn't paying much attention.
So, but I just assume, I personally would assume that if you're the champ, you're going to be fighting champs, and you're going to be in a tag team tournament instead of just doing a separate match. Well,
that's what it was last year, right? The winners were the champions at the end.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But and there was the belts were vacant.
Right.
But like, there's a lot of tag team tournaments in the past, including the Crockett Cup, where the champions have been entered. There's been a lot of tag team tournaments like that in the past, where the champions have entered and not even made the finals, much less won the tournament. So.
And I didn't. I guess I didn't. I watched a little of the NWA when it was first around in its heyday, but I guess I never really paid attention to find out if the tag team champions at that time, if they were in it and they lost, you know what I mean? Like the winner would be the new champions. And I guess I never paid attention to that. Anyways, we're getting off the topic, at least when I try to stay on a topic. I'm just going to go back a little bit. You were an amateur wrestler, football player. You can see that in your in-ring style. who is Royce Isaacs in the ring? Like what do you strive for to portray to the fans?
I mean, I think I do a lot of, I do portray my amateur side, what I came up from. There's a lot of, mat wrestling and throws, a lot of vicious strikes. I like to do a little bit of it all. I think I can chain with most any other wrestler. I throw, some mean suplexes. I can do some athletic stuff. I've been to Mexico City and I've lucha'd before. So in the ring, I can do it all, and I'm going to talk shit to you while I do it. So
And
if you're not,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you're not familiar with my work, I would recommend my bull rope match with Bateman from Ring of Honor. It was on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And if you like bloody physical matches, that's a really good one. But I mean, I think you can see a little bit of it all. My specialty, I would say, is like strong throws and big power moves and whatnot. But I do a little bit of everything, baby. And I can cut a mean promo too. So
you can cut a mean promo. Now I don't want to get off topic. Okay, so I think did I see a match with you? And correct me if I'm wrong. It might have been with with Jungle Boy. I want to say you threw him up, and I'm probably using the wrong language because I'm not a wrestler. You threw him up in the air, caught him, and then suplexed him. I think I remember seeing that on YouTube. You've wrestled them before, right?
I do that include Jungle Boy is Jack's one of my best friends. We got to wrestle a singles match once. We also had like this. I was doing a lucha gimmick called the Four, where I had a mask. It was steampunk. It was pretty cool. And me and him wrestled in like a 6-man tag that like Ultimo Dragon was on his team. So that was pretty freaking cool. And that was maybe in like 2017, 2018. There's a highlight of that on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have a few moves that are like pop up. Like my finisher is the Hush Money, which is like a full Nelson. Then I pop you up and I German suplex you.
Yeah, I think that was it.
That was it. Yeah. There's also the Sign Me, which was like a pump handle pop up into a power slam. So I have a few moves that, like, I mean, that's my bread and butter, is doing stuff like that.
It was vicious, whatever I saw.
My singles match with Jungle Boy was on bar wrestling a little while back. But that's one of my favorite matches I've ever had too. I think that was a pretty fun one, and it's kind of random aside, but whatever. It's a fun story, I think. In the middle of the match, you'll see me if you watch this, I think it's on High Spots Network, I want to say. It shows bar wrestling stuff.
I think so.
Yeah, and at some point I take a sunset flip power bomb from like the second or whatever. Like he jumps over and he boom, and I hit my head real hard, like just whiplash really bad, and I am on autopilot for the next few minutes, which is really scary. But like, I mean, at this point, laughing about it isn't going to change whether my brain hurts or not. So
Right, yeah.
I think if you're listening and you're like, "Oh my God, that's so scary," yeah, it's scary, but it happens. So
happens
it is what it is.
Happened to me in sports too.
Absolutely. So you might as well at this point enjoy the match, and you can kind of watch me like get my shit together on the match as you watch it. But I'm really still proud of that match. I think I showed some of the stuff that I don't necessarily always get to show with other people, and I thought it was a really solid match. There's a point where I pop up Jungle Boy into the ventilation at the Baldwin Park arena where we're at, like literally like into the ceiling, and he comes down. It's pretty funny. It was a good match, man. Jungle Boy can freaking go, and I'm glad now with AEW he's getting a chance to prove that on a weekly basis, because he's talented, man, and he's the future of wrestling for sure.
Yeah, I was just watching him. I had AEW on in the bar, and I was just watching him. He was in a 6-man, and man, he is something else. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I played sports all through high school, and there's my parents have a video of me in a basketball game. It was just a random basketball game, and I smacked my head off the court, boom, like that, and I popped up, and I must have played like second half of the third quarter and the rest of the fourth, and I don't remember any of it. And you're right, my brain probably is messed up, but and I can laugh at it now, but it's interesting. I was gonna let me see. Bar wrestling you mentioned.
Yeah.
That's Joey Ryan's stuff, right?
Yeah, man. Man, for a hot second when I lived, for a hot second after I moved to California, me and Joey were actually roommates. Me, him, and Eli Drake. It was a grand old time. It was a hell of a.
Oh my lord.
But it was a good time for sure. Joey's a good homie, and I think he's a very underrated guy in terms of his actual in-ring ability.
I think Joey Ryan is one of the most underrated wrestlers out there, and he gets a bad rap.
And he's a good friend. He's a good guy, and he makes a lot of money. So, leave it at that. He's doing great.
So are those events actually? They're in bars, right? I've never seen one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a really live crowd. It's really fun.
Yeah. So we were talking about anyways.
NWA.
What's that?
But I'm here talking about the NWA, baby.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. I don't mind going off on tangents and talking about other stuff I've done and whatever. But like at the end of the day, I'm a National Wrestling Alliance wrestler, and that's what I'm all about right now. And that's like kind of where my head's at and where the goals are at. And April 19th is the Crockett Cup, and that's kind of where my head's been at now for the last couple months, and where it will be for the next month and a half until I get to it. Like that's. And I don't mean that as a slight to Joey. It's just like this is my world that I'm in right now. Is NWA, Crockett Cup, and Wildcard season, baby.
Wildcard season. And I didn't even. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that. I was talking about your in-ring style, and you mentioned how you love to talk shit. You're great on the mic. In your mind, what are you better at in the NWA? Are you better in the ring or on the mic?
I mean, I think that's for the fans to decide. I think some people are going to really enjoy. The thing is, we can talk about like my personal preference, but I don't think that really matters. What matters is what fans actually enjoy or get out of it. There's a lot of people that I remember a lot more of their backstage promos or their vignettes or whatever it was than anything they did in ring. There's certain people that I remember moments and matches and whatever. I try to do both of those things, but to me it's like I don't really give a shit as long as they remember me. As long as fans are like, man, that promo was killer, man, that segment was awesome, man, I'll never forget when Royce Isaac did that move, or when I never forget that big falsy, whatever it was. Like I just want people to enjoy my work and remember me, and I don't really like it's whatever you want it to be, you know what I mean? Like it's the people out there, what they enjoy. I just want to keep giving it to them.
What are the people like in the NWA? That's at a studio wrestling, going old school. It's a lot of the same people. Is it still hot every week?
Yeah, I mean, watch the show, man. The fans are probably the hottest crowd in wrestling right now, I would say. I mean, you can, I guess you could argue that with me, but I think if you watch our show and you listen to our crowd, like they're not piping in extra crowd noise or
you're definitely not.
You know what I mean? It's really loud the whole time, and it's not like we're like dropping mics down from in the middle of the crowd or whatever. That's just like you can hear. Here's the thing: is with the studio, it's a small, intimate setting, and you can hear like little like if a fan is heckling you or whatever, you can hear it and you can respond to it in real time and shut it down. I think if you're comfortable and you're good on the mic, like it's a really good place to kind of be at. I think it's one of those things that like everything gets picked up and everything gets caught. I think that having a crowd that's there all the time, because they're such a good crowd and they stay so hot for everything, they're invested in everything. They make you, like it's easier to do your job when you're like, okay, everyone here gives a shit about this being good, including every single fan here, not just me and whoever's backstage and producing or whatever. It's like it all becomes one living, breathing entity together, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense, and I do watch. I do feel the crowd is extremely hot, and I think they're also, it is an entity. They are another. They're in that. They're almost in the ring with the other two competitors, or if it's a tag match, they're there. You see Sandoval. You got that. You got them all in the front row. You got the NWA podcast guys. You can hear them. And especially when you guys are behind the desk with, Marquez or Galley or even Mooney now, you guys can hear them and your responses to the crowd, and it's like impromptu. It's great. It's off script, and the way you guys handle it really makes the show. In my opinion, it's great.
Yeah, I think that kind of stuff's important. I think that feeding off of a live crowd is really important. I think that, it's one of those things that if you're watching it at home, you can still vibe with what's going on as it's happening, and that's important. Like you don't want to watch a show and the crowd's just sitting on their hands the entire time. Like it kind of is a buzzkill, right? Yes. So just on the flip side of that coin, if you have a really good, really hot crowd, it's that much easier just to be like, oh, okay, hell yeah, this is, I'm getting into it, I'm with this, let's see what's going on,
I do know. So I'm trying to stay on the topics I had as best I can, but it's challenging.
It's all good. You want to rant and rave and go off on stuff? We totally can, man.
No, I've gone off topic already enough. I'm talking about things are out of order sometimes. For example, you came from Denver. You moved from Denver to LA, which as a wrestler was shocking to me. I didn't realize LA was such a hotbed for wrestling until I discovered, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and then I discovered Defy and all that stuff. But what was that like? Because Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, that had the NWA belt for a time, correct?
It featured the NWA belt, yeah. Right? Before the NWA was running shows regularly, and before Power was up and running. Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and NWA obviously have a relationship, and it's certainly one of those things where they helped each other out, and obviously the belt was featured quite prominently. I mean, I got a match against Nick Aldis way before Strictly Business at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. As far as the actual move out from Denver, Denver was great. I love Denver. I miss Denver. I consider Denver home. There's a lot of stuff that I really do enjoy about Colorado, and I miss it out there. And every once in a while, I get to go back there and wrestle and show off for my hometown fans, which that's the best. But I just felt like things were getting stagnant in Denver in terms of my wrestling career strictly. It's at that point, I had done 3 tours of Japan with DDT Pro Wrestling.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, and that was an amazing time. One of my best, one of my favorite things that I've done to this day. But that said, it was really tough. There's not high quality indie shows running every single weekend. There are some shows that I would, that I was proud to be a part of and hope to come back to wrestle at again in Colorado. So I'm not trying to throw shade or be shady or whatever, but just being at any random show in LA, you're going to probably see someone that's pretty damn good. You can wrestle people that are on a much higher level than I would say pretty much anywhere else in the U.S. I know there's like kind of like an East Coast bias and,
Yeah, see,
and whatnot, but
I'm on the East Coast, and it never occurred to me that LA had that type of scene. And
oh yeah,
I guess it does.
PWG came from. Like that's only the highest quality wrestling in the world. Like I understand there was a time when they didn't use a ton of locals for a while, but like there's a reason why PWG and that style came out of SoCal.
Yeah.
There's people on shows around SoCal that I'm like, oh, that guy sucks or whatever, and then you realize, oh, like I'm just spoiled. If I get outside of the Southern California kind of area, like this guy's actually he can do stuff. Like even the people who like suck around here can kind of go. Like West Coast has some really deep talent pools and some people that aren't even signed yet, that aren't even on anyone's radar that can really go. I think there's a huge East Coast bias when it comes to indie wrestling, and there's so many talented people on the East Coast. So like that's not throwing shade at any of them. That's me putting over people on the West Coast that maybe haven't gotten the looks or opportunities that someone else has. I mean, it took Scorpio Sky freaking 15 years to blow up or whatever, and he's been that good for a long damn time. Like Sky is a beast in the ring, man. That guy's otherworldly. Like he's one of the top guys, and I'm glad that he's finally getting the chance to prove that weekly on AEW. But I mean, there's a reason why there's so many West Coast people. The Bucks came out of Southern California. Obviously, Joey Ryan was a Southern California guy. Like there's so many West Coast guys that can freaking go, and I credit that to a lot of my growth during my latter half of leading up till now. It's like I started out in Denver. I trained there, obviously, and I learned. I was able to train in Japan during my tours with DDT, which I think really helped me grow quite a bit. And then, like, the finalization of really, like, learning how to work was moving to the West Coast. And, iron sharpens iron. So I'm wrestling against some of the best wrestlers week in, week out. And I think that kind of rounded out my repertoire and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, when the NWA started putting on, their weekly shows, it opened my eyes to a whole nother land of wrestling talent, and a lot of that is on the West Coast, and I was just shocked. I mean, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood is it's really good.
Yeah, some really, really high quality stuff out here. I mean, but it's like, obviously in the NWA you have a lot of guys that are from the West Coast that are really good, or like Aaron Steven lives out here right now, and obviously he's really, really talented. Eli Drake's been out here forever, and he's been talented forever. Even though me and Tom got to beat him to get our belts back and whatnot, but like I can't fault my old roommate as far as purebred athletes and winners go. Like Eli Drake is the freaking man. And then if you even look at other companies like, if you look at AEW's top roster, quite a few of them are West Coast guys, or like someone like a Brian Cage is a West Coast guy, and that guy's a freaking marvel. He's 260 pounds of muscle, and he can do any freaking move in the book,
Pretty much, yeah, he can. Where do you see Royce Isaacs in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years?
The only thing that Royce Isaacs is worried about right now is where he's seated.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Getting that big shiny gold cup,
I should know.
Kissing it.
Yes.
Taking those eagle belts, kissing them. Me and Tommy on top again. This time, the second time's that much sweeter because we're gonna have even more hardware to go with it. That's all. Like honestly, I don't mean to sound corny or whatever, but it's like
it's fine.
Next fight is always the biggest fight, and it's one of those things where I don't want to get so caught up in the wonderment of the forest that I miss the tree, and the big tree that's coming up is the Crockett Cup. Because the fact of the matter is, we have to take care of business there. If we don't take care of business there, then it doesn't really matter what my 5-year plan is. You know what I mean?
I do.
It's one of those things where Portuguese pirates would capsize their rescue ships before they would go to try to board, before they would go try to actually be pirates and board other ships. And that was because they had to have that rabid, we just believe in ourselves so freaking much that like there's no retreat option, there's no escape option. And I think that me and Tommy have definitely capsized our escape ships. Like we're going full out. It's Wildcard season. It's Crockett Cup season, and let's go, baby.
Now, when you and Tom do win these gold eagle belts and you hold that title up, who's going to carry these belts? Those things are heavy, right?
Camille, because she's tougher than us.
Yeah, she probably is. That's great. All right, I got one more question, and then we'll end it. So I did my best. I tried to do a lot of promotion out on the Twitters and tried to get as many live people in as possible. Although we will push this out on all the podcast things. But I did get one response from one Twitter follower, May, and May is wondering when her next date is.
Well, here's the thing. My next date, she's many people don't know that not only is it the boyfriend-girlfriend thing, but we're actually I train her as well. So right now she's recovering from a little muscle injury, so probably not going to have a date until at least Sunday, maybe early next week, depending on when the doctor clears her. Do a little training, get a little lunch, maybe a little shopping, something nice like that. But first order of business is making sure that my girl gets nice and healthy and rested up, so that that way we can, take care of business, because strictly business, strictly pinkness.
Pinkness, I like that.
That's right. Yeah, she's got the pink thing going on. I got the business thing going.
Keep her away from Zicky Dice.
I plan to. He would never in his million years be able to touch her. He will catch a backhand swiftly.
The outlandish one?
The outslappish one, for sure.
All right. All right, Royce. I told you I wouldn't keep you more than an hour. We're coming up on 45 minutes. We're fine. I can let you go. But what I like to always do at the end of the show is now I'm going to give the mic to you. You can literally say whatever you want. You got the Crockett Cup. You got NWA. You're focused on those gold titles. This is your time. It's your time, Royce. Go ahead.
All right. First of all, I just want to thank anyone that took the time to watch or listen, or however you ingested this. If you had your friend write this out and then you read it, beautiful. I love you. You're amazing for that. Follow me at Royce Isaacs on Twitter, at Royce Isaacs on Instagram. And most of all, Crockett Cup, April 19th, College Park, Georgia, NationalWrestlingAlliance.com. They are selling tickets right now. They have a 4-pack for like $100. I believe the code for that is NWA4. Get on that ASAP, because I'm not sure how long that's going to be around. It's an amazing deal, especially if you have like a family and you're doing like you have people that you're coming with. Great. I want to see you there. If you can't make it, obviously there's going to be an iPay-per-view on Fight TV, and I definitely obviously recommend that. And the last thing I'll say is consistently the NWA has over-delivered after under-promising. So like, if you don't think that for our biggest event ever, we're not going to have some amazing, crazy surprises, better bet your ass we are going to have that. So like, it's going to be a crazy event. Like I promise you, we are going to dress to impress, and I promise you're going to love the Crockett Cup. And hey, it's wildcard season. # strictly business. Royce Isaacs signing out, baby.
All right. Thank you, Royce.
Thank you, brother.
Have a great night, sir. Anyways, that's going to putting you over, at least for tonight. Guess we're done for tonight. It has been fun. I'm going to get off here as well. Thank you very much, STR. Thank you, anyone else that has been here tonight. Thank you to Royce Isaacs for his time and consideration, for even thinking and being on the show. And hopefully, if I ever have him on again, I won't be as bad as I was tonight. I felt I was bad. Interview went well. STR enjoyed it. Anyways, I'll be back Friday or Saturday night, one of those nights. Stay tuned to the Twitters, at the Standing One on Twitter, or at putting you the letter U over. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Thank you.
This guy's called the Standing Streamer. The champ is here!
Hey, Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret, and you're watching Putting You Over.